Strumming can absolutely make or break your sound. If you've been feeling like your strumming's a little bit messy or not quite as consistent as you'd like, don't worry, I've got you covered. Let's dive into a few quick fixes that'll have your strumming cleaned up and get you sounding clear and consistent in no time. I grew up surrounded by guitars. My dad's been in bands since way before I was born, and because of that I've always had quite a natural flair for rhythm and strumming. I think it probably comes from watching his band so much from an early age, but not everybody had that upbringing. And I get so many questions about how to make your strumming sound more professional, more loose and more natural. And quite often I don't know how to describe what I do. But in today's video, I've come up with a few quick tips that I think will help you level up your guitar playing by making your strumming feel more natural. So I'm going to jump straight in with tip number one, and that is loosening the grip on your pick. So a common mistake that I see beginner guitarists making all the time is they have this crazy death grip on the pick. And you can tell that they're squeezing so hard because the whole arm, the wrist, the elbow and everything feels really robotic because they're obviously concentrating so much on holding onto the pick for dear life that everything else just loses fluidity. So I really recommend trying to loosen that grip a little bit. And another tip that's kind of related to that is choosing the right pick. I really recommend the Dunlop Max Grip picks, and these are the picks that I personally use. So I get that this is a very personal thing, but I'm obviously going to recommend what I like and what I feel is the right tool for the job. And they've got this lovely textured finish to them, which enables you to loosen that grip without risking the thing falling out of your fingers and onto the floor. And a few times I've borrowed a pick from a bandmate or whatever, and these Tortex things that have got a really smooth finish, especially if you've got sweaty fingers in the middle of a gig, you're really having to grip onto them to stop them falling out of your fingers. So I do think that that's part of the reason why people have this mad death grip on the pick, is because they're using the wrong pick as well. So check out the Dunlop Max Grip picks. I think they're great, and they really do kind of almost stick to your fingers. The grip is that amazing on them. So tip number 3 is going to be working on your pick accuracy. And when I was first starting out playing the guitar as a 9-10-year-old lad, I would quite often end up with the top bit of my finger here where the nail starts, where the nail meets the finger. It would be bleeding because my pick accuracy was terrible. And half the time I'd end up hitting my finger on the strings rather than the pick. And it's quite uncomfortable. And it just took practice to stop that happening. So a really good practice technique, I think, is when you're strumming basic chords like a G, for example, just go, and you should be able to strum those. It's kind of like driving a car. If any of you drive a car, you'll know that you don't have to look at the gear stick. You just instinctively know where it is because you've done it so many times on repeat. It's just there. And it's kind of the same with this. You know exactly where the strings are and you don't have to look. And another good technique is to practice skipping strings as well. So if you're playing a G, you're playing everything, but then play a C chord and play everything from the A string down. You should be able to just instinctively miss that bottom E string. Same with a D, you should be able to miss the top 2 strings. And it's just practice to get that accuracy down. But good practice techniques are those 3 chords: G's, C's and D's. And you just should kind of be able to feel when you're hitting the right strings. I hope that kind of makes sense. You can always ask me questions or to go in depth in the comment section down below this video if you need any more kind of help. Also, while we're on the subject of contacting me for help and stuff, my Discord server is linked in the description of this video. You can join for free, and there's a group of us in there that always talk guitar tips and techniques and gear and all that kind of thing. So feel free to join, and you can get access to me there. I'll answer any questions that you've got. So moving on, the next tip actually is a bit of a contradiction to other tutorial videos that I've seen online. I see so many strumming tutorials telling people that they should be strumming with their wrist. And where I partly agree, a lot of them say that you shouldn't be strumming with your elbow. I fundamentally disagree with this because I think it depends on the dynamics of the song as well. So I use this kind of balance of wrist and elbow strumming. And particularly if you're playing the electric guitar and you're playing kind of heavier stuff like punk, you see a lot of punk guitarists only using their elbow, or some of them are strumming from up here, from the shoulder as well. I'm not sure I recommend that essentially, but I think it's all about having this natural flow. Notice the looseness of the elbow and wrist. So a very, very basic strumming pattern. So I think for lighter parts of the song, you can use mainly wrist, and when it gets a little bit heavier, then you can incorporate some more elbow strumming. And it's all about finding that balance depending on the parts of the song. And I think that's a tip that will help you sort of level up your playing and just sound a little bit more pro, a little bit more natural. So I think as a closing thought, the importance of practice is often overlooked here. And I know it's probably not what most people want to hear, but the reason that my strumming looks so natural and so pro is that I'm playing about 100 gigs a year, and on my off days I'm doing things like making these videos, and I'm always working on new songs to add to my repertoire, and I've got a guitar in my hands most days. So really, practice is everything. And if you want to get good at anything in the world, doing it repetitively is always going to be the best option to becoming an expert at the thing. So I know it's probably a bit of a not a controversial one, but one that people might not want to hear. I know quite often nowadays people are looking for hacks and quick ways of getting good at things, but the reality of it is learning to play the guitar is about doing the thing. You can read about push-ups, but you're not going to build any strength until you actually do the push-ups, are you? So with that said, I'm going to end this video here so that it's not dragging on too much and becoming too long. But if you like this kind of video and if you get value from it, please consider subscribing by hitting the subscribe link down below. It really does help the channel out, and it helps these videos get seen by more people. Until next time, thank you very much for watching and take care. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.